Using Pandas, how do I deduplicate a file being read in chunks? I have a large fixed-width file being read into Pandas in chunks of 10,000 lines. This works great for everything except removing duplicates from the data because the duplicates can obviously be in different chunks. The file is being read in chunks because it is too large to fit into memory in its entirety. My first attempt at deduplicating the file was to bring in just the 2 columns needed to deduplicate it and make a list of rows to not read. Reading in just those 2 columns, out of about 500, easily fits in memory, and I was able to use the ID column to find duplicates and an eligibility column to decide which of the 2 or 3 with the same ID to keep. I then used the skip rows flag of the read_fwf command to skip those rows. The problem I ran into is that the Pandas fixed width file reader doesn't work with skip rows equals list and iterator equals true at the same time. So, how do I deduplicate a file being processed in chunks?
My solution was to bring in just the columns needed to find the duplicates I want to drop and make a bit mask based on that information. Then, by knowing the chunk size and which chunk I'm on, I reindex the chunk I'm on so that it matches the correct position it represents on the bit mask. Then I just pass it through the bit mask and the duplicate rows are dropped. Bring in the entire column to deduplicate on, in this case ID. Then create a bit mask of the rows that aren't duplicates. Dataframe.duplicated returns the rows that are duplicates and then inverts that. Now we have our dupe mask. Then create an iterator to bring the file in chunks. Once that is done, loop over the iterator and create a new index for each chunk. This new index matches the small chunk data frame with its position in the dupe mask bit mask, which we can then use to only keep the lines that aren't duplicates. This approach only works in this case because the data is large because it's so wide. It still has to read in a column in its entirety in order to work.
If you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.